I owe a huge amount of money in student debt. And for a very long time, I quietly hoped that my parents would come and bail me out, just pay it off so I didn't have to, think about that anymore. I never asked, of course, because I don't want to be a burden and I don't want to risk getting no and putting people in uncomfortable situations. I just had this feeling that someone please come and save me. And that is kind of the pattern that I discovered not that long ago, actually, that I have kind of built this identity around being the one who struggles. And it seems stupid, right? Because who wants to be the one who struggles? Not me, but as it turns out, I have been. And it is such a tricky situation because I can see how I got there. I can see that the first situation where this comes to mind, where this pattern began to show up, it was around my mid-20s when I was in an extremely bad financial situation. And my experience at that point, even though there was so much shame and guilt and just stress around this, I also experienced this care and attention around it. So even though, of course, it wasn't a situation I wanted to happen, I still had some kind of gain from it. And in my life, there has been many people, including in my family, where they have had a lot of struggles, whether it be health issues or just other kinds of struggle. And I have always been the empath. And from a very young age, I think I saw or felt that it was better to not be a burden, to not ask for things I thought could be too much or my parents didn't have it, if it was money wise, or even if it was just attention or time or something else, because I felt like they had enough on their plate, so I didn't want to add and be a burden. So I just made myself smaller and kind of tried to make my needs disappear. And it became more and more difficult to receive anything, whether it be attention and care or gifts or whatever, without having to earn it first, without having to do something. And especially around all of those people who were struggling. So I didn't want to add to that, especially if there wasn't a good reason. And so this kind of pattern of mine began, and and I have and I can see it has continued for many years up until very recently, with like chronic health issues. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's around 8 years ago or something, I think, and have been struggling a lot with that. And there has been a lot of financial issues, and I have been unemployed, and there has been so many things, and my huge student debt. And what I can see now looking back, or when I discovered this, was that having these problems allowed me to get attention. It made it more okay for me to receive that attention and care and compassion and help, even sometimes. It made it more okay than just if it was just me being me. If I had these problems, there would be a reason for people to check in on me or feel bad for me, even though it still came with a lot of shame and it was hard for me to actually accept. And so it's this kind of complete paradox or a dilemma that on one hand, you really want this problem to go away because it hurts you in a lot of ways and it really makes your life difficult. And at the same time, this is what allows you to get the care, attention, help you have needed and wanted, but haven't gotten or allowed yourself to get if there wasn't this problem. And at the same time, it gives you kind of an excuse to why you're not in the place you want to be, why you haven't achieved the things or done the things or become the thing. It kind of gives you that kind of excuse. So if you take all the struggle away, it not only removes the excuse you have, then you will actually have to sit there with your own like imperfections and shortcomings and see that you're the reason why this hasn't happened. It's not because of the thing, it's you. You're the common denominator. And also, it removes the care or attention that you didn't really feel you got that much of when you didn't have these problems. And we all need that kind of thing. We all need love and attention and the feeling of being seen and cared for. And it's not like I don't have it, but I haven't felt like I could receive it, that I deserved to get it, that it was okay for me to get that attention if there wasn't kind of a reason for it. And that is kind of difficult. If you take that away, then you're just stuck with having to face that you have these issues and you need to actually do things. You need to ask for what you need and want. You need to allow yourself to receive what people are trying to offer you. And you need to actually take responsibility for what is not going as you would like it to in your life. And that is very, very, very uncomfortable to sit in that and just think, fuck, no one's coming to save me. I am the person who actually needs to do this. I am the one who needs to cultivate the right relationships. I am the one who is the only one who can fix my life or get it to where I want it to be. No one's going to come and fix you. No one's going to come and fix your situation. No one's coming to save you. You're it. Fuck. That is, I don't know about you, but for me, it feels kind of brutal that there's no one there. Not that you can't have people in your life who are supportive and all of that. Of course you can, and I hope you have. But it's still this, but it's different because you have to do the work. No one can come and save you. And even if my parents had done the thing I quietly or secretly hoped they would, like paying off my debt, it still wouldn't have fixed my life because I would still have this programming running. I would still have this pattern. So even though my debt would have disappeared, I would still have found a way to fuck everything up because that was still the pattern. And so it would have been a help, of course, because it is a huge burden, but at the same time, they would probably have done me some kind of disservice, because it's really important to figure this stuff out. It's really important to see this pattern and recognize it, and trying to reprogram it, and trying to see it for what it is. Allow yourself to grieve that you had to learn this pattern when you were a kid, most likely, because you didn't feel like you could be yourself. You felt like you couldn't ask for what you needed, and you weren't cared for the way you needed or wanted for some reason. Not because your parents are like bad parents necessarily. Could be the case, but maybe not. That could be many, many reasons. So allow yourself to just grieve that you had to learn this, you had to pick this up, you had to learn that you couldn't ask for help, or you couldn't get the care and attention that you needed, and you felt like you had to do everything yourself because you could only rely on yourself, and it was dangerous to ask for help. That is because that is kind of a brutal experience to have, no matter what else was going on. And there was always reasons why your parents or someone else can't give you the stuff you need. They always have their own reason, but that doesn't change that you were a kid and didn't get what you needed at the time. And you had to come up with these survival strategies just to live, and that you had to kind of become the one who struggles just to get the things you needed growing up, and that you can carry it with you for so many years if you never see it. You never actually discover that that is what's underneath everything. And I think if you begin to see what's going on, it becomes easier to work with. So I have been working a lot with this, and it's not like it's perfectly fixed, because it still creeps in, and I still struggle with some things. But at the same time, I have been working a lot with like self-worth, inner child healing, self-love, and just trying to rewire these patterns, these programs that tells you that you are not allowed to have needs and wants, and you can't count on anyone. And that, I can feel that has helped me a lot. And if you have seen any of my videos before, I'm sure you have already heard me talk about EFT tapping, but that is really such an amazing tool. And that has, I think, made the biggest difference for me in a lot of patterns, but maybe especially this one. It has done so much, and I find it a lot easier to ask for help, to tell people what I need, say yes, say no, and just be more honest, explain less. And also, when I ask for help, I don't give a huge explanation anymore. Basically, I just ask, and if I think some else information is needed, I give that, but that's it. Before it was like, but it's only because nobody, so many reasons, right? It really had to be justified, everything. And the same with receiving, that it's it has become a lot easier as well. And I don't feel guilty about it as I did before. And I don't feel like I need to reciprocate. Like I don't feel the same way I need to earn it and yeah, give back like right away. So it has made a huge difference in my life, and it's not like it's perfectly fixed, and who knows if it's ever gonna be. But I just want to tell you that if any of this resonates with you, it can get better, and you just really need to allow yourself to acknowledge that you have this pattern, and don't judge yourself for it, because it is a survival strategy. There is a reason why you found out that this was the only way you felt safe, or that was what you felt you needed to do in order to kind of survive, basically. So really don't judge yourself for this. It's have so much compassion and know that it was never about you. And of course, you're allowed to have wants and needs and ask for help, of course. And if someone is not able to give what you need, it's not about you. It's not about you not being deserving or not being good enough. It's about them. That is always the case. It's never about you. It's always about them. So that's just and really look into EFT tapping if you haven't already. And if this resonates, I hope you'll stick around and like and subscribe and everything. And take care of yourself. Bye.